I mean, how much is like having Otani, obviously, like financially what he's done for the club and with deferrals, like how much has it changed what you guys are able to do this time of the year, not only like this year, but as you look out over the next few, like has the financial realities of what's capable for you guys changed?
It's a difficult question to answer because before we signed Shohei, we had the commitment from ownership and the drive from them to us of let's do what we can to be aggressive, let's go be great. Obviously, adding a player of Shohei's talent helps in that quite a bit. And also the pledge that we made when we met with them about how aggressive we were going to be to try to win. You know, we feel some responsibility and obligation to fulfill that. But I think no matter what, our mindset was let's be aggressive to add to the core that we had. But fortunately, we don't have to spend much time thinking about that alternate reality of not having Shohei. But, you know, again, just that pledge and commitment we made to him, we take it seriously.
Even with like the other guys and like this deal, how much does the deferred money just kind of help make all these things fit for what you guys are trying to do?
I mean, it's just a lever. We've talked about this. We've done deals recently that don't have it. We've done deals that do in a negotiation. I think it's always challenging. And so you're looking to any lever you possibly can to help get to a point where there is overlap. You know, there are times where that deal lines up in a more straightforward way. There's times where it's less straightforward. And so including deferrals helps as a lever to, you know, find that overlap, and it's been a useful tool for us. And you know, but we have no hard and fast rule. We just like to get deals done.
Are there any factors that led you guys to go down that deferral path more recently, or is that just like players being more amenable to it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know a little bit with the having a number of our kind of star players with deferrals, I think has made it something that guys have no issue with, and in some cases may even desire. It's hard to say. We haven't dug too much on it, but at times where we've gotten to a little bit of an impasse on a deal, and either their side's brought it up or us, at times it's really helped, help close that last mile.
Why is it not a handicap for the 2035 team to have $100 million owed guys who won't be playing?
It's just how you account for it. Like, you have to fund a lot of it right now, and having that money go to work for you, where you have a lot of our ownership group or from financial background, and can have that money going to work right now and just making it, not something that sneaks up on us. We're not going to wake up in 2035 and be like, oh my God, that's right, we have this money due. We'll plan for it along the way.
Has tapping into maybe the Japanese market brought more money, or is a different version of revenue that maybe you guys were anticipating to be able to project out further?
Yeah, but again, that's more on the business side. I don't think that had that not been the case, that we wouldn't be sitting here right now with Blake. Our business is very healthy. We have a really good team. We have, a lot of different revenue sources, and more than anything, we are investing it aggressively, and we feel a real obligation to our fans. The passion that they show, the commitment that they show us, we feel a real pressure to deliver for them.
The last 2 years, the way your starting pitching inventory dissolved up, how did that motivate the move with Blake? How does that affect your priorities going into the offseason?
I don't know the answer to that. Naively, last February, it's like, we may be in a position to the dream is to be in first place and be a seller, because my goal is to not buy in July. I am setting that out there right now. My goal is to do everything we can right now to not buy in July.
Do you want to
It is
talk on
terrible.
anything?
Yes, everything. Everything. It is a terrible time to acquire talent. And so we're going to do everything we can to put ourselves in a position to not, obviously, as we saw last year, if we need to, we will. But our goal is to not. And last February, I naively joked about how we may even be in position to be sellers and be in a good position. I will never make that mistake again. So the point is, I don't know. And we're going to spend a lot of time on our pitching and injuries and just trying to wrap our arms around it more. It's obviously a big problem in the industry. We're going to do everything we can to be better at it than we were the year before. But, you know, I think having depth and starting pitching is never a bad thing. There's no such thing as too much pitching. We learned that last year.
Andrew, do you feel like you're able to operate at a just sort of higher financial level than you had before at this point? Just coming off the World Series with the revenue generated from Shohei Ohtani and his brand, like, do you feel like you're able to do things at this point in the trajectory that you weren't able to do just like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think the commitment from our ownership group from the minute I got here has been incredible, and it really has. And you know, it's something that in every meeting, in every conversation, in every text message, it has always been erring on the side of being aggressive. It has always been, hey, let's go, let's push, let's get better. But yeah, I think it's with the position we're in right now and the success we've had, it puts us in a position to be even more aggressive. And it's about doing everything we can to maintain. You know, we've talked about this a lot. There are a lot of large revenue teams who have had a run of success and then fallen off a cliff and taken years and years to build back. And it's why the keeping one eye on the present, one eye on the future is so important. And so, you know, through all of that, for us to maintain a high ranking with our farm system and have the depth of talent that we have in our farm system that we had to pull from a lot last year with all the injuries. And, you know, whether it's drawing from it to help supplement our major league team, whether it's trading it to acquire major league players, it's incredibly important. And so for us, while being more aggressive in the near term, it's still keeping a mindful, watchful eye of the out years for us to be able to maintain this for as far as we can see out.
Andrew, you heard a lot about the free agents you're meeting with, have interest with, signing Blake. How does that affect your own free agents internally? Hirsch, Walker Buehler, Jack, Teo, PK, Blake, there's a lot of those guys. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, we've had different conversations with our own guys, and you know, from our standpoint, throughout it, the only thing we can control is being honest and having conversations with those guys. We have a lot of respect for them. They put themselves in this position. They deserve the right to figure out what's best for them and their family. And the only thing we can control is being honest. And so from our standpoint, stepping away from specific free agents, we're still focused on what we can do to get better and to improve our chances of winning a World Series in 2025. And we'll continue to talk through trade stuff and free agents and figure out what potentially lines up.
What made Tommy Edman someone you wanted to extend?
I mean, I guess as long as we were trying to acquire him, it just felt like once we finally got him, don't let him go. No, I mean, he's a guy that just fits us really well. And with how talented he is on defense and at different difficult spots to find and access in the market, they just could not foresee a way that he wouldn't fit us. looking out. So he loved his time in LA and wanted to be here longer term. We wanted him to be, and usually when you have that, it's a good jumping off point to get something done.
And you've talked a lot about wanting this to be the golden era of Dodger baseball. I'm curious, like, how you would define that. There's certain
I have no
markers
idea.
there. Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's more just when we look back on it that is how it's generally regarded. I don't know what that means. And so for us, it's just do everything we can to win as many times as we can. But it's a fair question.
You
Yeah,
don't
but
think you're ruining baseball with all this spending?
I think we're rewarding our incredibly passionate fans.
Why do you think there's been so much discourse about the deferrals? It's obviously you're not the first team to do it, and it's certainly
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Shohei one was just very extreme. But if you set the Shohei contract aside, the rest are all within the norm and standard operating procedure that a lot of teams have done. But I think the Shohei one is just jarring to people because it's so different. And I think that the others just unfairly get lumped into that. But I think it's kind of a lazy narrative. But don't spend too much time on it and not really worried about it.
Do you think that you've talked a lot about like you want this place to be like a destination spot for free agents? Do you think like all these guys like will take deferrals or maybe speaks to that? Like just maybe like how much they want the wanting to be here makes them more.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because what their alternatives were and whether it was less, then it's not as relevant. Other situations were more, then I think it speaks to it. I don't know about that specifically, but just in conversation, I think it's a real thing. You know, talking to our internal free agents, you know, many of whom have expressed, hey, ideally we want to stay. And talking to free agents from other teams who said, hey, it'd be great to play for the Dodgers. You know, Blake touched on it on the dais. I think the city, the weather, the fan support, the talent that we have contributes greatly in us reaching that goal. But it's one of those goals that we never want to get complacent with. Creating that destination spot, we are better at it today than we were 4 years ago. And in my mind, we will have failed if we're not better at it 4 years from now than we are today. So it's something we have to continue to nurture and grow. But I think it is very much in place, and we're looking to strengthen that advantage.
You talked a lot about this golden era of Dodger baseball. I know you have a lot of guys on contracts until the 2030s, but do you see this 4 or 5 year window, everyone at their prime, Freddie's contract, you know, what's left on that, as a window to really capitalize and maximize, I guess, the championships?
I mean, yes and no. I wouldn't say we're any more focused over the next 2 or 3 than we were in the last 2 or 3, or we will be 6 or 7 from now. Our goal is to do everything we can to be in position to win, but also we're not going to do anything that pushes a lot of chips for 2 years and then puts us in position where we fall off a cliff. So it's balancing the timing of contracts and talent and, you know, our farm system and what our needs are, all of that, that there are certain things we haven't done because what it would potentially mean in terms of blocking something or locking something up, that, you know, it's a balancing act in terms of, you know, long-term contracts and young players and how to integrate for you to be able to sustain success over a long period. And that is what our focus is on making sure we can do that.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いします。